Welcome to today's lesson. In this tutorial, we will solve multi-step equations with variables on both sides. So we are still solving our equations and we have our suggested steps right here, so let's follow those in order today. Today we have variables on both sides of the equal sign. Look at example 1. I see a variable on the left side of the equal sign and I see a variable on the right side of the equal sign. So let's see what we're going to do. Step 1 says to remove any fractions. I don't see any fractions, so let's skip to step 2. Step 2 says remove any parentheses. I don't see any parentheses, so we can automatically go to step 3. Treating each side of the equal sign separately, combine any like terms we see. So looking at just the left side of the equal sign, we're looking for any like terms, and I see them. Negative 10x and positive 2x are like terms because their variable parts are identical. Negative 10 plus 2 is negative 8, so negative 10x plus 2x becomes negative 8x. The 7 does not have a like term, so I'm just going to drop that down, and since it's a positive 7, I need a plus sign in front of it. I'm going to put my equal sign. Now let's look at the right side of the equal sign. There are no like terms over here, so no combining of like terms. I'm just going to drop down the 4x minus 17. So step 3 is finished. Next, step 4. We're going to add or subtract any variable term to the left side of the equal sign. I see a variable term on the right side of the equal sign, so it's a positive, so I'm going to subtract that term to the left side. It's like terms with itself, of course, and it's like terms over here with the negative 8x. So I'm going to put it underneath the negative 8x. I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to cross that out because now it's gone from the right side of the equal sign. Negative 8x minus 4x is negative 12x. Just combine my coefficients. The positive 7 is going to drop down. The equal sign is going to come right here, and the negative 17 is right there. Great. Step 5. Add or subtract any number term to the right side of the equal sign. So here's my number term, and I'm going to subtract it to the right side. It has to subtract, so I can cancel it away. Minus 7 on each side. Draw my line. Negative 12x is all by itself on the left side. Negative 17 takes 7 more away is negative 24. And now I have my final step, divide by the coefficient of our variable term. The coefficient is negative 12. I'm going to divide it away since it's being multiplied. And now I have that x equals negative 24 divided by negative 12 is 2. What I'd like for you to do is pause the video right now and verify that this answer is correct. Substitute the 2 in for this x and this x and this x and see that we get a true sentence. Pause now to verify. Okay, thank you for verifying. I plugged the 2 right here and here and here. I put my question mark above the equal sign to tell people that I am checking. And then I simplified all of my left side to become negative 9 and all of my right side to also become negative 9. So it works, and I boxed in x equals 2. I found the answer. Let's look at example 2. Number 1, remove any fractions. Well, I still do not see any fractions, so we don't have to worry about number 1 here. Number 2, remove any parentheses by distribution. I do see a set of parentheses here, so I know I'm going to have to distribute the 4 to the a and the 4 to this minus 4. The left side of the equation is not touched yet, so I'll just write it down here. I've got my equal sign. 4 times a becomes 4a. 4 times 4 becomes 16, but because the minus sign is there, I still need to separate those two terms with that minus sign. I'm going to put the plus a and the plus 1, and now step 2 is finished. Number 3, treating each side of the equal sign separately, let's combine like terms. On the left side of the equal sign, I see a 2 and I see a 1, and those are like terms. 2 plus 1, of course, is just 3. And then the negative a will follow right after. I've got the equal sign. Let's look what happens on the left side. I've got 4a and 1a. Those are like terms, so I'm going to combine those together. 4 plus 1, there's this 1 right here. If you want to put that in, that helps. 4a plus 1a becomes 5a. And I also have like terms that are numbers. This negative 16 and this positive 1. I'm going to link those together. Negative 16 plus 1 is negative 15. So we had like terms on both sides of the equal sign. Step 4. Let's add or subtract any variable terms to the left side of the equal sign. I still see a variable on the right side here, 5a, so I'm going to subtract that 5a so that it cancels away. I'm going to put it right underneath its like term over here, minus 5a. I draw my line and I cross out the term that just went away. Over here I still have the 3, and then I have negative 1a minus 5a makes negative 6a. And then my equal sign, and then this negative 15 is all by itself on the right side. Step 5. Add or subtract any number terms to the right side of the equal sign. Well, if I put my variables to the left side, I want to move my numbers to the right side. This is a positive 3, so I'm going to put a negative 3 right underneath it. I'm going to put a negative 3 on the other side, of course. I'm going to draw my line, and I'm going to cross that out because that makes 0. Negative 6a will be all by itself. And then some math here. Negative 15, take 3 more away, is negative 18. I have one last step, seems to be the same last step each time. Divide by the coefficient of our variable term. So divide by this negative 6, both sides, cross that out, and we get that a equals 3. Again, I'd like for you to pause the video and practice verifying that this solution is true. Substitute this 3 in all the spots where you see an a. Pause now and practice that, please. Thank you for verifying. I substituted the 3 right here and right here and right here. I crunched all these numbers down on the left side to be 0 and all these numbers on the right side to also be 0. I got a true sentence, which means that it works, and I circled my a equals 3. Great. Let's look at our final example. Finally, we get to do step 1. It says to remove any fractions by multiplying the entire side by the denominator. I see a fraction this time, so I'm going to multiply the entire left side by 4 and the entire right side by 4. When I'm multiplying entire sides, I want to put parentheses around the entire side, so I know I'm going to be distributing whatever I'm multiplying by. So let's see what happens. This 4 is going to multiply to this 9x minus 5 in parentheses. I'll do that in the next step. This 4 is here, so it can cancel out with this denominator of 4. Bye-bye. This 1 really doesn't need to be there anymore. Oops, I forgot my equal sign. But I'll go ahead and put it just for our next step. There still is a 1 there, but multiplying by 1 does not change anything. So one step and I got rid of my fraction. Number 2, remove any parentheses by distribution. I do see this set of parentheses, so I'm going to distribute the 4. I also see this set of parentheses, but again, multiplying by 1 does not really change anything. 4 times 9x becomes 36x. 4 times negative 5 becomes negative 20. The equal sign, and 1 times this parenthesis is just the parenthesis without the parentheses. Okay. Let's look at each side and see if there are any like terms. I don't see any like terms on the left side. I don't see any like terms on the right side. So we're finished with step 3. Step 4, the same last 3 steps. We're going to move our variable terms to the left side. Then we're going to move our number terms to the right side. And then if there's a coefficient, we're going to divide by that. So let's see. I have this variable term that's on the right side right now. I'm going to get rid of that by subtracting 3x from both sides. I like to put it underneath its like term so I can combine them. This becomes 0. 36 things, take away 3 of the same thing becomes 33 of those things. They just happen to be x's this time. This negative 20 is right here. This equal sign comes next. Negative 9 is all alone right here. Once I move the variables to the left side, I'm going to move the numbers to the right side. So this negative 20, I'm going to put a positive 20 underneath it. I'm going to put a positive 20 on the other side of the equal sign. Draw my line, and this cancels away. I have 33x is equal to negative 9 plus 20 is 11. One final move. divide by the coefficient of my variable term. My variable term is right here, so I have to divide by 33. Divide by 33, cancel that away, and I have x equals 11 divided by 33. Well, that reduces to 1 over 3. So it looks like my answer is x equals 1/3. It's okay to have fractions. What I'd like for you to do is pause the video and plug this 1/3 back into the equation for the x's. Pause now and let's verify this final equation. Remember, when you're verifying, you're just substituting into the original equation. That's the stuff right here before all of the brown ink. So I substituted the 1/3 here, and I substituted the 1/3 here. Now let's continue and see that you get a true sentence. Keep going. 9 times 1/3 is 3. 3 times 1/3 is 1. This side becomes -2. I left the 1/4 a little bit outside so I could combine what's in the parentheses first. 1 minus 9 is -8. And then I took 1/4 of -8 and also got -2. This does work. I boxed in my answer and we are good to go. Thanks for watching this tutorial. We'll practice solving more equations in class. Bye-bye.